Alright, welcome back to House of Prep. Hope you all been doing well. In today's video, I'd like to discuss bug out bag. It's also could be called a get home bag. It could be pretty much anything you want to use it for. Whatever items you choose to keep in here, or what I choose to keep in here, can be tweaked. You can take items out, add items depending on what you're doing. If you're going traveling, if you're just commuting from work and home, if the weather outside is summertime or maybe it's winter time, depends on maybe some of the types of clothing that you might have as far as a backup garments or some other kind of warmths or blankets if it's winter. So it's a bug out bag, and many videos about that, a lot of descriptions out there about a bug out bag. It's if you need to grab your bag and go. If there's an emergency at your house, you're in the middle of a storm, if there's some kind of a riot, if you live in one of those areas, something where you have a limited amount of time to get out of Dodge, basically, that would be called your bug out bag to get out. And you would want all of your main essentials with you, maybe some extra cash stuck in there, maybe some other documents and things. There's also another long list of items that you could add. I'm just going to go over a few of those items. Some items I'm still planning to get. And if you have any ideas or of items that you like to add to your bag for your different emergencies and such, please feel free to comment, share not just with me but with others that are learning, other people that are starting to prep and developing maybe their emergency plans. Along with having emergency food stores built up in your pantry, in a stash somewhere, water of that such nature, you still want to have some kind of a backup bag of a plan of sorts. And again, I told you about if you need to get out in a hurry, it goes if your car breaks down. If there's an event where there's bumper to bumper traffic and people breaking down and there's some kind of an emergency going on and you have no choice but to now go on foot. Example, I used to live in Florida. I'm in Tennessee now. I used to live in Florida some years ago, and there was a big hurricane that was heading right for where we were living, and many people waited to the last minute to evacuate. And watching it on the news, it became bumper to bumper traffic out on the interstate at a gridlock. They were at a standstill, and the storm ended up bypassing, but it took hours and hours and hours for people to get home. Now, if the storm would have hit direct right onto them, many people would have been stranded wherever they parked, wherever they were on the interstate, and that was it. In a situation like that, you have one of these bags in your trunk. You can make it on foot. You'll have some basic supplies if you need them on hand. I recommend this for anybody, whether you're a man or a woman, a mom or a dad. If you're a single mother, I still recommend getting some bag of some sort. Keep it in your trunk, and you can kind of tweak it to what gear you need. The first items I want to discuss, and again, this is going to depend on what state you live in, is also going to have my recommendation before you would get any type of a self-defense weapons of any kind for defending yourself and your loved ones, to please go out and get training. If you have not had that yet, you can go to your local gun shop, and either they might have a training class or be able to recommend to somebody who's licensed to give you the best training before you would even purchase one of these. And that's something that once you get a handgun for self-defense, and you could definitely practice that. I recommend that you always practice. Now, right now we're in an ammo shortage, unfortunately, so practicing kind of tears through any type of a stash that you have. So we're a little bit limited now unless you have an abundance of ammunition out there. Some of you do, and in that case you can still practice, and maybe a little more sparingly than you normally would. But the first thing I would recommend is for some sort of a self-defense. If you're in an emergency situation and you have to grab this bag and get out, or you're stranded in your car and you're now going to have to hike to make it back home, maybe to your spouse, to your kids, back to your house, your home, you need to get to where you got to go. Not knowing what's going on at the time, it's going to be nice to have something, knowing that you can defend yourself from anybody who might want to bring you harm or to take anything that you have. And I highly recommend that with a backup of a clip to go into this. So you would have 2 clips at least, minimal. If you definitely having some ammunition, you might even have an extra box of ammunition that you want to keep in your bug out bag. That's totally up to you. Again, everybody does this differently. But to have one of these is a great responsibility, and I don't take that lightly. And as I recommend this isn't something that you're making it flashy. You're not using this as an intimidation factor. Remember, this is a last resort. This is something that you are using to save your life or the life of your loved ones. But it's critical in any type of a scenario to have one of these even at home, and have it to where you can defend your house and your home in any situation. Now, for most of us, we're very fortunate. The riots are not knocking at our door. We're very fortunate for that, and it's so easy to go day to day with our normal business, going to work, going to the grocery store, going to ball practice, going to wherever you got going on in life, and to kind of like take that for granted that we don't have that issue right at our back door. Some people do. Some people are moving because of that. But I highly recommend that. So that's enough on that for today. That could be a whole different video just in itself for home defense items and stuff, and hopefully one day I'll be able to cross that. Also, keeping on hand in your bug out bag, in your vehicle, at home, is a good knife. One that you can use as a multi-function. Purchase one of these, and you can keep it in your bag. It's good for self-defense as well, but you can use that for an all-purpose knife for any situation that you might run into where you need to cut something. You know, knives are used for so much in our lives that we don't even think about it sometimes. But with that being said, in my bug out bag, I always keep a backup. I keep a spare knife because it's always good to have a backup. You always want to make sure that you're prepared and that you are able to survive in a survival situation. In my bug out bag, I also keep a multi-tool. Again, they're small, they're compact, you can open them up, they turn into like a pair of pliers. There's all kinds of little gadgets and screwdrivers and little things in here. You never know when you're hiking through anything that you may have to need a tool of some sorts in order to operate whatever you're trying to do. Keeping a good pair of sturdy work gloves, super important to keep them in your bug out bag, because again, you never know when you're out and you're in a survival mode situation, you're leaving your car, you're bugging out of your house. If you need to do some sort of a work, maybe you're making a campsite for the night, if it takes you a couple days to get to where you're going, you might need to be protecting your hands as you're gathering firewood, as you're building a temporary shelter, and you're trying to maneuver things, or maybe you're working through a city, you're going through a zone or an area that might have been damaged, and you're messing with some items that you don't want to mess up your hands. So take care of your health at this point, because you're in a survival situation. Water, you can have many different types. You can have a canteen, you can have a couple bottles of water in your bug out bag. Some people have other containers. I recommend always keeping some sort of water for an emergency. And like I say, if you keep one of these in your vehicle, if something happens, you get stranded, you're broke down somewhere, hey, I've got some water. That alone is important, even just for normal getting in a car wreck, or like I said, a flat tire, and you're out, and you're out in the sun and you're trying to fix your tire. It's nice to have some water, right? We want to stay hydrated, we want to stay healthy. A flashlight, super important. You just pick up a little flashlight, make sure you got your batteries to go with it, and that way you can put them right inside. And you want to make sure you have some sort of a lighting tool. Again, if you're having to travel through night, or even again if you have a breakdown in your car, whether a guy or a lady, it's nice to have a flashlight on hand so that you're able to do what you need to do, okay? Because again, you want to be prepared. That's what this is about, okay? This is about being prepared, and I'm just throwing out my ideas to you, and I'm just trying to help you, okay? I'm not trying to do anything else but just giving you some ideas. I had a friend make this for me. I hope he's able to watch this and see this. And it's a ferro rod. What you do is when you take the back of your knife, and I'm not going to do it right here in front, maybe one day we'll make a campfire on a video and I'll show it to you. and you take the back of your knife and you strike it, and it puts out a lot of sparks. And if you're trying to make a campfire, maybe like I said, it's winter time and you're freezing and you need to make a fire, you can use that to help spark your fire. But again, just like the knives do, I want to have a backup. So I just took a little Ziploc bag to waterproof it. In case the bag gets wet, you want to keep your matches dry. I've just some extra matches. They don't take up a lot of room. And in a survival situation, having some fire is extremely important, okay? And a little trick, and I learned this watching YouTube, okay? And I'll pass this along if you don't know this already. This is dryer lint, all right? If you take an empty toilet paper roll, okay? And, you know, we all use toilet paper, so you can get one of these little cardboard rolls, and most of us have a dryer, or we use a dryer at some point. All this dryer lint that normally you throw away, right? It's just usually trash. Just take it and you just shove it right into this toilet paper roll, okay? And you just keep shoving it in as much as you want. And this makes a great fire starter. So if you're out in the woods and wherever you happen to be and you're gathering some sticks, and you can put this down in there and use your matches, your ferro rod, strike some spark right on this lint, and this will really help get your fire started, okay? It'll really be critical to have this, but to keep it dry, okay? Keep it in the Ziploc bag, double Ziploc bags, whatever your preference is, but keep that dry. Again, doesn't take up a lot of room, but man, I tell you what, when you're trying to start a fire, having something like that is really going to be a game changer for you. So keep that in mind. In my kit, I keep a couple glow sticks, not just because they're handy, but I happen to like glow sticks, all right? So it's something that I like to keep around. They're nice to be able to crack, get that thing shining if I'm using a temporary camp, or if I'm putting up a marker for somebody to come find me and we're trying to have a meeting point, but it's pitch black. You know, you never know when you might need a glow stick. They're very small and compact, all right? All right, this is a tourniquet. Actually, my daughter had got this for me. She knew that I was trying to add some things to my bug out bag, and she got me this tourniquet. Extremely important to have a tourniquet. If for some reason something happens, if you do get into a gunfight with somebody, or you get stabbed or something, you need to stop the bleeding before you can get medical help, or you're helping somebody else, your loved one, or maybe somebody that you come across that has critical issues, you can use a tourniquet and stop the bleeding. I won't demonstrate that today, but maybe in a medical video we'll cover that. In my bug out bag, and this is just a sample, I mean, you have a bigger roll of this stuff, you know, some paracord. You never know what you might need paracord for. If you're setting up a temporary shelter, or something that you're working out, you're trying to make a temporary camp, you just never know when you might need a little bit of paracord, okay? It's basically some rope, okay? But you can go to any little store, you know, a box store, go to their camping section or their hardware section, and you can find some paracord. Very, very worth having on hand. With that said, I keep a roll of duct tape in there. Again, if I'm out traveling in my car, who knows what might happen. I'm like, man, I wish I had some duct tape, because it fixes just about everything, am I right? So you've got some duct tape. And again, if you're out in a survival situation, you're trying to set up a camp, a temporary shelter, anything, you never know, man, I could really use some duct tape. And here it is, and it doesn't take up terribly too much room. And I'm saying that about everything. Eventually we're going to fill this sucker up. Keep some meds on hand, some pain medications, the ones, whatever you use, Advil, Tylenol, Excedrins. Man, you're in a survival situation and you twist an ankle, or your back, if you have back issues, or you get headaches or anything at all, man, I wish I had some pain medicine. Well, if you keep this in your car with you, or if you grab this as your bug out bag, you're going to have something, and you're going to be so thankful that you have some sort of pain medication. That being said, if you have allergies like I do, keep an extra little bit of allergy medicine. Keep some extra Tums. Keep a few extra, you know, whatever it is, medications, blood pressure medicine, I don't know, whatever. Keep a little bit of extra in this extra bug out bag. So if you get stranded for a couple days somewhere, you can still have the medications that you need, and that's your health. That could be life and death depending on what it is. So keep a few extra pills or whatever it is that you need in your bug out bag. Me personally, I've said this before in other videos. I like to eat, all right? Now, if I'm out in a survival situation, all of a sudden, we got all these supplies to survive, and all of a sudden we hear that, oh man, I'm starving, and there's no McDonald's here. I'm out, and I'm trying to travel, I'm trying to get back home, and I'm running out of energy. So keep you some beef jerky. I have some other of those freeze-dried Mountain House kits that if you start a fire and you got your little pot going, which I didn't have my pot out here today, but you could boil some water and you can make yourself a nice little meal. So there's all kinds of alternatives you can do. Put some trail mix in here. Again, the sky's the limit. Power bars, whatever you like to eat, something that you're going to enjoy, that's going to be a little bit of a comfort food for you. I happen to like some beef jerky, so that's in mind. All right, so talking about heat and fire, and if you have your pot with you, which mine's in the house somewhere, I took it out for something, and if you do want to bring a little extra, if you have room, it's a little bit more weight, but it's not too heavy, little fire starter cans. You pop these suckers open, you light them, you just follow the directions. It's super easy. It produces an automatic heat for you, instant heat. So that way you could put your pot on here, boil some water if you brought extra water, or if you're at a creek or somewhere, boil some water, use that for your freeze-dried meals, or if you just want to cook something else, this is instant heat. If you're having trouble making a fire, or you just want to bypass the whole fire thing altogether, these are nice, okay? I'm just going to tell you, they're nice to have. So I keep them in my bag. Again, this is an item totally optional. All this stuff is optional, but I do highly recommend some of those. This is a little fishing kit I threw together. Some hooks, some fishing line, some basic baits. Just in a survival situation, if I really needed this stuff, man, this is invaluable. If I was really in that type of a situation, I don't necessarily bring this or put this in here for every situation, but that is something that you want to consider at least having on hand. At least have it on hand, so if you decide you want it in a quick situation, you can throw it in there and you're good to go. Baby wipes. I threw these in my bug out bag. Again, I'm thinking, I'm out on the run. You got to go to the bathroom. My wife's got to go to the bathroom. We're out trying to get home from, the bumper to bumper that I told you, and we need to go to the woods. Well, some baby wipes are going to be invaluable. You've been getting messed up in the camp. You're all messy and yucky feeling and sweaty from hiking in 100-degree sun with the humidity. Having some baby wipes just kind of wipe down and refresh yourself. Again, some of it's a mental thing too. You want to be as comfortable as you can. You're already in an anxious situation. So if you can add a few extra little things to your bug out bag, that's going to help you even mentally. Look, it's totally worth it, okay? Think outside the box. Think of anything that I'm not even listing here, and I promise you, they'll come in handy one day when you need it, okay? I had a couple construction grade trash bags. Let's say you're out surviving and you come across some loot. You come across some canned goods or something. Man, I still have some more traveling to do, and I don't have anything else to carry. My bag's full. How am I going to carry this extra water that I found, these other bottles of water or food? Well, you have a couple of these folded up trash bags, construction grade trash bags, that you can put some things in that you find that, man, I really want to keep this stuff because I could use this stuff to survive if I need to be out here for a few more days. So keep a couple of these, just stash them right inside your bag. They also work great as a raincoat. Okay, we were talking about running out surviving, and here we are now hiking, and all of a sudden here's the thunder, and the rain just starts coming down. Well, you have a couple of these, and you can take one, put a hole in it, put your arm holes through it. You got your knife, whip that sucker out, cut you up a spot to pull, and you can get you a nice little rain poncho that you can make from scratch. Okay, super inexpensive to do this. Excuse me. So that, keep you an extra hat in there. You see, I love wearing hats. It keeps the sun right off of your face. It helps with the rain when the rain's coming down, and in general, keep you an extra hat. Keep you some kind of a water bottle in there. excuse me, some sort of a water container, something that if you come across a stream or a creek and you're like, man, I want to be able to capture some of this water, but I'm not going to use it right now, have you something that you can put water in so that you can get to it later. I had a life straw. Life straw is in the house, I believe, but if you have you a life straw, I'm going to be doing a video about a life straw, by the way, in the coming week or two. I'm going to do a demonstration on how a life straw works. Basically, it's a straw and it has a filter built into it, and if you were able to save some water for later, you could drink right out of this with your life straw. It doesn't matter if it's creek water or whatever, your life straw will filter out anything that's bad in it, bacterias, and that way you're able to survive and you can have water. You can put that life straw right down into a creek if you want, and you could drink right from the creek. So put you a life straw in there. So, you know, a little pot, an extra life straw, something in there. Again, anything, any ideas that I can come up with, and I'll share them. I know this time's been going, so thank you very much for watching. I hope that I've given you a couple ideas, maybe something new that you hadn't thought of, or if this is your first time even considering this, hopefully this is a good start for you. So if this has been helpful for you, if you'd like to continue to see some more videos and some more of my demonstrations that I will be coming up with, and some more items and things to try to do my best to be a help, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell on there, you'll get alerted, and I'll continue to do my part. And thank you so much for watching House of Prep. Y'all have a good one.